From the Cronkite studios in downtown Phoenix, this is Cronkite News.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Emily Bloom. Our Cronkite News reporters work in teams to cover specific issues important to all Arizonans. Those beats range from borderlands to business, from technology to government and justice. Tonight, we highlight stories from the education team, covering teacher morale, to students finding success through scholarships.
The school district is looking into getting a stronger broadband connection in order to Skype certified teachers in to integrate STEM in more classrooms. Overall, teachers here in Arizona are among the lowest paid in the United States. Reporter Blakely McHugh tells us how this affects teachers in the profession.
According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, Occupational Employment Statistics, and Bureau of Economic Analysis regional price parties, Arizona's median elementary teacher pay is around $41,000. That's the lowest in the country after a cost of living adjustment.
And even with that low pay, teachers spend on average $500, if not more, to provide for their classroom. According to Expect More Arizona, this low income is not only affecting what teachers can provide, but their morale for the job itself.
The morale is low, but if it wasn't for the students, we don't know what it would look like.
Teachers spend on average 64.2 hours per week on things related to classroom prep, classroom instruction, and grading, according to the teacher workforce. Teacher of the Year, Michelle Doherty, says because of their frustration, a lot of teachers are either leaving the profession or moving to higher paying state.
What we're concerned is that the teachers that are choosing to stay in the career aren't going past 5 years, because either there's pay freezes or the raises are very low or whatever. You can't live off of teachers' wages.
The Morrison Institute at Arizona State University conducted a survey in April that says 22% of teachers hired in 2013 to 2015 were not working in Arizona after 1 year. 42% of teachers hired in 2013 were not working after 3 years. The low-income pay is not only affecting the morale and retention rate of teachers, it's also affecting the amount of people going into the profession. The survey also shows Arizona is losing more teachers than bachelor education degrees are being produced. Hart says this is because the community has a negative outlook on the profession.
When a young person says, well, I want to go into teaching, the community response should be, yes, we support you, that's a great choice. But right now, the question is why? It doesn't pay anything, why would you do that?
Doherty and Hart said they are both working to boost teachers' morale and increase teacher pay. Expect More Arizona will be announcing a teacher pay goal when it gets closer to back to school time. In the Broadcast Center, Blakely McHugh, Cronkite News.
Governor Doug Ducey recently signed the bill to expand the School Empowerment Scholarship Program, which would offer students funding if they wish to go to private school or be homeschooled. Reporter McKenna Delgarno is live in Phoenix to tell us about the impacts of these ESAs in more rural communities.
Yeah, Danielle, I traveled to 2 communities in eastern Arizona to talk with families on how they feel about the expansion of the school voucher program.
Dress D.
In Thatcher, Arizona, Jenny Bryce is helping her daughter with homework. The mother of 5 says she's uncertain of the future in public education.
I feel like in 20 years, when my grandchildren are going through education, that we'll say, remember when we used to send our kids to public school?
The Bryce family lives in a rural community where there are no private schools in the district. All her children go to public school. She says with the expansion of ESAs, it's going to take away from their local schools.
The fact that we're even having a discussion about pulling any kind of money away from public school funding is just kind of a hard pill to swallow.
50 miles west in San Carlos, Jolinda Ben decided to go a different route with her 8 children.
When we had our first child, there was I didn't even think about public school for her.
Ben says she chose private school because of religion.
Christian education is what I want for my children.
Her children don't currently get ESAs, but they do get other scholarships.
ESAs are just another way that parents can choose the best education for their children.
Students who are in low-income families will receive 100% of the funds that would have went to their public school.
Parents can choose to spend their ESA funds on either private school tuition or approved fees. Some of those approved fees are curriculum and books, writing utensils, and even laptops and computers.
Ben says it's a positive impact the parents have the option of school choice, while Bryce is looking further down the road.
It is good to be able to.
I definitely see bad things in store for public schools if this trend continues, that we are trending towards privatizing education.
5,500 students will be able to sign up for the vouchers once a year for the next 4 years. One thing to note, the Benz family will not be able to sign up for those vouchers because their children are already enrolled in private schools. Live in Phoenix, McKenna Delgarno, Cronkite News.
Arizona schools are keeping a close eye on the federal budget process. Educators say one program they can't survive without: subsidized school lunches. Cronkite News reporter Natalie Tarangoli talked to one family that relies on this federal program that may be in danger of renewal.
Arizona schools have been serving up lunches to needy kids with support from the Healthy Hunger-Free Kids Act of 2010. Those regulations are set to expire on April 28th, and if not renewed, it could have a huge impact on roughly 500,000 children in Arizona, including one family in Queen Creek.
Unless you tell them, none of those kids are aware. As far as they're concerned, you're just like the rest of them.
Brittany Wiltbank doesn't feel any different from the other kids at her high school, even though her family relies on reduced school lunches. With 5 other siblings in the Queen Creek School District, eating affordably is very important.
We have reduced lunch, so they're only 40 cents, which is, I mean, it's amazing. So for us, we get an entire lunch and it doesn't cost us hardly anything.
Queen Creek claims to have the 3rd highest median income in Maricopa County at just under $90,000. But that doesn't mean everyone can afford to pay for lunch.
In Queen Creek, you think about this, we're about 27%. You still have 3 out of 10 kids that rely on the program.
April Wiltbank knows firsthand how expensive it is for her large family to eat. At full price, lunch for her 6 children would cost $18 a day, $360 per month. Instead, all children eat for a total of just $2.40 per day, and they have no complaints.
It's not something that I'm really ashamed of because I think we have such a big family. It's kind of something that people would just expect.
Carol Weekly works with Arizona's congressional delegation to break down how many school meals are served and the costs and challenges associated with them.
The big elephant in the room, or kind of what's been talked about, there's been a couple of bills out there talking about block granting child nutrition programs, and that would be absolutely detrimental. Horrible.
The federal government reimburses schools about $3 for each meal that meets USDA guidelines. Last year, the Queen Creek School District sold nearly 500,000 lunches, which translated to more than $1 million back to the district.
We're not quite sure what's going to happen. Right now, there is a bill in the Senate to roll it into the Farm Bill, and hopefully that's a good thing, so that way we can continue to operate without any disruption.
I look at my family, I look at my husband and our children like we're going to do whatever we have to do to take care of our family.
The school lunch program is part of a larger package of agricultural legislation before Congress. President Trump has proposed a 21% cut in the Department of Agriculture's budget, leaving supporters of the Child Nutrition Reauthorization Program fearful of real cuts. Live in the Media Center, Natalie Tarangoli, Cronkite News.
With summer approaching, many high school seniors are looking ahead to college. I went to Phoenix Collegiate Academy High School in South Phoenix to meet a student who did not let obstacles get in the way of his dream.
Like many seniors, Adam Jackson was anxious about getting into college.
I was applying for colleges and I feel like I'm not going to get into any of these.
But the South Phoenix student has been accepted to 8 different colleges across the country.
I want to say ever since I was small, a little child, my grandparents and my dad, they've always told me that I can do anything if I just apply myself.
Jackson has had a lot to overcome. He was abandoned by his mother at the age of 3, and he could not share the exciting news about college with his father.
He wouldn't know because he died a year ago.
He lost his father as he was studying for college entrance exams and beginning to apply to colleges.
It threw me off. It's still throwing me off right now. I'm still trying to pick myself back up from that. It's been hard.
But his hard work has paid off. He's been offered more than $140,000 in scholarships. Jackson hopes his father is smiling from above.
My motivation, that thing that I've been holding on to, is my dad. He always told me to go out and do way better than he ever did.
Graduation day is May 23rd, which also happens to be Dad's birthday.
I kind of want to think of it as like my gift to him.
And Adam Jackson has decided to attend a private liberal arts college. Next year, he's headed to Bowdoin College in Maine.
Fascinating. You know, sometimes I wish I wasn't so beloved.
Wow.
It's literally one for the history books.
Enjoy.
Research by the World Health Organization shows processed meat could increase the risk of cancer in young adults. Improving school lunches could be a part of the solution. Cronkite News Los Angeles reporter Lauren Negrete spoke with one nonprofit that's heading to court in hopes of changing our kids' choices.
It's lunchtime at this Los Angeles middle school. While these kids chow down, one doctor at the University of Southern California fears some of the food on their plates is harmful.
Eating processed meat increases the risk of cancer, particularly colorectal cancer, and therefore it was found to be carcinogenic. So we classified as a group 1 carcinogen, which is the highest category. It's the same category as tobacco.
Dr. Stern worked with the World Health Organization to find eating 50 grams of processed meat a day, about 1 hot dog, escalates risk by 18%.
So more kids are obese, more kids have diabetes, and all these are risk factors for colorectal cancer.
It's with that in mind, a nonprofit group, the Physicians Committee, is suing the Los Angeles Unified School District.
The whole goal is to get everyone eating more healthy, whole food, plant-based diets, because we know that that's the #1 way to reduce your risk for chronic disease.
Those like colorectal cancer and many others, it may take decades for the cancer to form. So we should really be worrying about what we're doing in our youth.
It's a worry on the mind of Phoenix Union High School District, which is actively trying to limit processed meats.
And if we can eliminate processed meats in the future, we will. But at the same time, these are some things that students are requesting.
In the meantime, Dr. Stern suggests thinking of processed meats like a weekly treat, or red meats.
So it's about 18 ounces per week, something like that. So the equivalent would be, if you imagine, a small hamburger per day.
Good advice, no matter what lunch line you're in. In Los Angeles, Lauren Negrete, Cronkite News.
Every year, the Arizona Educational Foundation recognizes the best educators in the state through their Teacher of the Year program. Carla Liriano spent a day in the life of these top Arizona teachers.
They're nominated by coworkers, administrators, even their own students for the chance to be recognized as the Arizona Teacher of the Year. I went down to Sierra Vista and spent a Tuesday with 12th grade English teacher Karen Bristow, a semifinalist for the program and one of the top 10 educators in the state. This is a day in the life of a teacher.
Choose your clothes for the day.
Karen Bristow is a mom, a wife, and a teacher, in that order. She and her husband Roger both teach at Buena High School in Sierra Vista.
It's a unique partnership we have because we have an understanding of I think the demands, the frustrations, but also the joys of being educators in this state.
Her day starts at 6 a.m. to get her kids to their before-school program.
It's time to go.
Her 2 sons go to the elementary school in her district, and in just a few years will join her at the high school.
It'd be wonderful to have them as students, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. You have a good day? Kisses? I love you.
When she gets to Buena by 7, she has an hour to prep for the day.
Hi, this is for you. Welcome. I teach English. I've always taught English or language arts. I really enjoy teaching both writing and literature. I cannot choose a single one. What O'Connor or Joyce Carol.
Bristow teaches Buena seniors of various levels, including advanced placement and dual enrollment.
I always find something new in the text, and my students help me find new things in the text as well.
She's amazing. I think she's the best teacher I've ever had. She really works hard to make sure that the students understand what we need to learn and what she's trying to teach us.
She likes to use modern references to teach her students classic themes. Today's lesson, how symbols of tyranny from the poem Ozymandias are also used in a Coldplay music video.
My passion is really grounded in teaching and understanding how to teach teenagers.
I think that she should have won. That's what I think.
But Bristow says she's just grateful to have been recognized for the Sierra Vista community and above all, her students.
Bye, I'll see you tomorrow. Don't forget to bring a poem. Thank you. Aren't they awesome? The students are awesome.
As a semi-finalist for Arizona Teacher of the Year, Bristow won a spot at a Teaching Leadership Institute, a partial scholarship to RGC University, and a cash prize. In the First Amendment Forum, Carla Liriano, Cronkite News.
Between teacher shortages and full classrooms, it can be difficult to make sure students get a full grasp on every lesson that's taught. I visited one Phoenix nonprofit that's hoping to change that.
Hi, Silvio. How are you? Let's have you pick the book that you were last working on.
Children these days grow up surrounded by technology, and one Phoenix nonprofit decided to take that concept and combine it with education. Valley of the Sun United Way has developed a new one-on-one tutoring program called Velo for 1st through 3rd grade classrooms to help students learn to read better.
We created a way for a volunteer at their workplace or at home or wherever they work from to just click a link in their email, and it takes them straight to a screen sharing process in the classroom on the station we built.
According to the Arizona Department of Education, by the end of 3rd grade, students should be able to read and comprehend literature, including stories, dramas, and poetry. The program uses these benchmarks as well. Dee Spigelair says volunteerism is crucial, and Velo breaks down the big barriers that can sometimes come with it.
Commute time, fitting in my schedule, it takes too long to get to and from a place where I'm volunteering, and we said, you know what, you can do this from anywhere.
That's great. Let's move on to the next page.
The beta testing took place in the Roosevelt and Glendale school districts here in the Valley and is now being used on a national level.
There's always something about teacher pay and this, that, and the other. We were able to say, we want to support you with awesome technology.
Valley of the Sun United Way says they hope more schools continue to say hello to Velo.
Woohoo, great job!
The program is now all over the country, including Boston, Brownsville, Texas, and the Quad Cities area of Iowa and Illinois.
There's a treasure hunt of sorts happening at ASU's Hayden Library. Students are searching for clues to the past. Cronkite News reporter Kaylee Nassif takes us into the stacks and shows us what they're looking for in between the pages.
ASU's Hayden Library is about to undergo major renovations. It's been open since 1966, but some of the books are much older. I met with an ASU professor who's hoping to find something new in those books before they're moved. Nestled on the 3rd floor of Arizona State University's Hayden Library are the PR and PS sections. These rows are home to 13,000 out-of-copyright books that are of special interest to ASU English professor Devaney Lozer.
We have some things in our library that are only here, and that will be useful to future historians, future biographers who might look at these works of literature.
Professor Lozer directs ASU's Book Traces project, which takes students through the Hayden Library stacks in search of unique signs of ownership and readership.
Going to remind people about the old things, or we can find something really funny or kind of interesting.
Participants in the ASU Book Traces project go through the stacks of Hayden Library, and when they find a book, they see if they can find an inscription. When they do, they bring the book to Professor Loser, and if it's significant, she adds it to her spreadsheet. The hope is that the information will be added to the catalog records for those books.
As more and more of our tools and resources are available online, we're rethinking kind of how we interact with print.
Professor Loser knows paleography, the study of old handwriting, so she's able to make out the centuries-old notes and decide whether something is important or not.
Sometimes we're finding gift inscriptions or evidence that the book was given as a present by the editor or by the author. Things that tell us how the book was used, who might have owned it, and things that tell us about history.
ASU was established in 1885, so many of the library books from before that were donated. This leads to many of the project's findings.
What I tell students after they've volunteered is, you've contributed to history, you've helped history.
The next Book Traces events are Wednesday and Thursday from 12 to 2 p.m. in Hayden Library. Professor Loser also hopes to put together a special exhibit of all the project's findings after the renovations are done. In Tempe, Kaylee Nassif, Cronkite News.
It's a new leadership center for Girl Scouts, and it helps the environment. Reporter McKenna Delgarno took a tour of the new facility that incorporates sustainability.
The Bob and Renee Parsons Leadership Center for Girls and Women is a year-round camping facility for Girl Scouts. It aims to give back to the community.
It really stemmed from our desire to increase our capacity to serve girls, the ones that we currently serve, and then new girls in the community.
It includes activity centers, an archery range, and 15 cabins that sleep up to 10 people. More than 900 troops, leaders, and volunteers had the chance to give their input on what they wanted to see.
The biggest thing that they wanted was they wanted the facility to be green and to respect the natural desert landscape that was already here.
Marlene Emerzian, the architect for the center and a former Girl Scout, did just that.
We made very simple ways that the cabins are suspended above the ground, so the water pours down South Mountain like it always has.
The cabins were also designed so that when it rains, the water pours off and onto the surrounding plants. As for going green, the walls are made up of 80% of recycled material. Jessica Lyon with the Girl Scouts Arizona Cactus Pine Council says they hope this camping facility will help girls who don't have experience with camping by offering 2-day overnight camps. She says this is important for young girls.
So one of the things this facility does, and I think it really reinforces for girls, their importance, their worthiness, and that this space is just for them.
Camp sessions will begin this summer. In Phoenix, McKenna Delgarno, Cronkite News.
If you want to register your child or become a volunteer, visit girlscoutsaz.org. Some schools have students build volcanoes for science class, but this event is allowing students to build solar-powered go-karts. Reporter Amanda Luberto tells us how living in the Valley of the Sun is helping students do more.
When the green flag waves, students start their cart with the help of the sun.
It's an opportunity to get out of the classroom, away from the textbook, and have a hands-on experience that's really fun.
All high schools in Arizona are invited to participate in the Racing the Sun event, but schools that have STEM-based programs seem to be the ones who sign up, Bruce Wright says. In its 5 years, more than 500 students have participated.
High school students work all school year to build solar-powered go-karts. When they get here to practice day, they still might or might not work.
Morgan Smith is a senior at Palo Verde High Magnet School in Tucson. He's the lead for this year's go-kart team and says the program through the University of Arizona Tech Park is helping him determine his career path.
They kind of introduced me to the engineering world, and for a career, even if I don't make the Navy a career choice, after that, I will still want to do engineering.
Because of the engineering and robotics program at his high school, Morgan plans to join the nuclear engineering program with the U.S. Navy. But for now, solar strips on go-karts is his idea of fun. In Tucson, Amanda Luberto, Cronkite News.
Some after-school programs involve math tutoring, extracurricular activities, or club meetings. But this one after-school class teaches kids how to skateboard. Cronkite reporter Cassidy McDonald explains why these kids are learning to shred.
For students at Larry C. Kennedy School, when the final bell rings on Friday afternoons, it means it's time for some free skateboarding lessons.
Skate After School is a nonprofit organization founded about 3 or 4 years ago. We provide after-school skateboard instruction to kids in some of Phoenix's lower income or underserved communities, where after-school programs are sometimes harder to come by or harder to access, and we bring all the gear and all the equipment so the kids don't need to have anything.
Timothy Ward and the 2 other co-founders of the program grew up skateboarding and Students say the inspiration behind the program came from their passion for the hobby.
We all feel like our lives have been benefited a lot from our experience skateboarding. All the friends we've made, the places we've traveled, every big major decision we've made in our lives has somehow been based around skateboarding.
They say you can do it and stuff, like tricks, ollies, and going down the stairs.
The program relies on volunteers ages 16 and up to help instruct students on the proper techniques. Volunteer Josh Aberhard said he was inspired to volunteer by the positive role models and friends he made at a skateboarding camp he attended as a child.
I've been skateboarding for 12 years. Good time for them to get their energy out. They're in school, they're not just sitting around all day, they have an outlet to go and release their energy. They start off not knowing, then at the end they learn how to skate. Even if they don't continue doing it, they still learn how to do something and take that same drive and persistence.
It's fun hanging out with your friends, skating, learning more moves.
The Skate After School program has received wide support from community members and local businesses like Cowtown, who encourage their customers and employees to donate gently used skateboards, decks, helmets, and more for the students that use the program after school.
Cowtown's one of those skate shops that's really about the skate community, so why not try to help the skate community out with something like Skate After School. That's a really cool program.
Currently, the program is in 8 Phoenix area schools, and they work with an estimated 250 kids per week.
I think it's really important for kids to have something to do after school. I know the importance of having something to focus on or something that I really want to progress at.
In the future, Skate After School hopes to continue to expand their after-school program to additional low-income schools around the valley. In Phoenix, Cassidy McDonald, Cronkite News.
The Skate After School program accepts volunteers ages 16 and over. Those interested in participating in the program can apply to become a volunteer on Skate After School's website.
That's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thank you for joining us. For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.az, pbs.org.